Good afternoon, and welcome to the investiture ceremony of President Valerie Sheares Ashby. Our ceremony will begin in a few minutes. For your safety, please note the exits around the arena. Medical services are available on the concourse level behind Section 101. As we prepare to begin our ceremony, please take your seats and silence your cell phones. Thank you. Our ceremony is about to begin. Please take your seats and silence your cell phones. Thank you. Welcome to the investiture ceremony of President Valerie Sheares Ashby. Please turn your attention to the left of the arena and stand for the inauguration procession. Please welcome the UMBC Jubilee Singers and the UMBC Camerata, led by our Staff Marshal, Alina Dahlin. Ms. Dahlin is the recipient of the Presidential Distinguished Staff Award for Non-Exempt Staff and is Executive Administrative Assistant in the Division of Information Technology. She is accompanied by Student Marshal Janira Allen, a doctoral student in electrical engineering. Our faculty marshal is Tamra Mendelson, the 2022 recipient of the Presidential Teaching Professor Award and Professor of Biological Sciences. Professor Mendelson leads the procession of university delegates representing colleges and universities across Maryland and institutions where President Sheares Ashby has served throughout her career. The faculty marshals are carrying batons that the UMBC Alumni Association gave to the university in honor of our 40th anniversary in 2006. She is accompanied by student marshals Evan Sheldon, a student in physics, and Imani Conway, a student in public health. Our faculty marshal, Jonathan Zohar, recipient of the Presidential Research Professor Award and Chair of Marine Biotechnology, leads the procession of UMBC faculty. He is accompanied by student marshals Marvin Onkwe, a student in biological sciences, and Alexis Johnson, a student in financial economics.
Musicians, go. Fanfare, go.
The platform party is led by the Grand Marshal, Susan McDonough, President of the Faculty Senate and Associate Professor of History. The platform party includes administrative, academic, and shared governance leaders from UMBC, University System of Maryland Board of Regents Chair Linda Gooden, University System of Maryland Chancellor Jay Perman, and UMBC President Valerie Sheares Ashby. The Grand Marshal carries the University Mace, a symbol of presidential authority. Used only on formal academic occasions, UMBC's Mace was commissioned by the Alumni Association for UMBC's 20th anniversary in 1986.
Welcome to the installation ceremony of UMBC's 6th president, Valerie Sheares Ashby. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of our community members, including UMBC's staff, faculty, students, and our alumni. I would also like to welcome our distinguished guests, including Maryland Governor Wes Moore and other public officials, faculty visiting from other universities, our donors and corporate and foundation partners, and our neighbors and community partners throughout the region. Thank you for joining us on this historic occasion and for your support of UMBC. Please rise for our national anthem, performed by Regina Catherine Aquino, a senior soprano vocal performance major on the pre-nursing track. Regina is honored to represent the music department today. Her performance will be accompanied by a presentation of the colors by UMBC's Naval ROTC program. Please remain standing throughout the anthem and until the colors have retired.
say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Regina. Wonderful job. And thank you to the students in NROTC. Everyone, please be seated. As we welcome you to UMBC, we wish to acknowledge that UMBC was established upon the land of the Piscataway and Susquehannock peoples. Over time, citizens of many more indigenous nations have come to reside in this region. We humbly offer our respect to all past, present, and future indigenous people connected to this place. Thank you. I'm honored not only to serve as Grand Marshal, but also to bring you greetings on behalf of the faculty of UMBC. President Sheares Ashby, we welcome you as a fellow academic, a chemist by training, and a champion of discovery and creation and dissemination of knowledge by choice. We look forward to continuing to work alongside you in a spirit of shared governance to move UMBC forward and to ensure that our students, the great retrievers, take their greatness into the world. Now, I would like to call upon Reverend Cherie Smith Claiborne from Baltimore's Bethel AME Church and Maurette Brown Clark to provide a moment of reflection.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Dr. Valerie, Bishop would have loved to have been here. And on behalf of the Right Reverend James LaVert Davis, along with the entire 2nd Episcopal District, along with your church family, Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Baltimore, we are peacock proud of you on this day. You have our full support and always our prayers. I was asked to start with an invocation. Please feel free to close the prayer with me however you pray. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might Let us into the light. Keep us forever in thy path, we pray. We thank you, O God, for moments like these where we are able to celebrate what has been accomplished even as we step into newness. We thank you for the ways in which you have honored the hopes, dreams, and prayers of the ancestors. We thank you for a visionary woman by the name of Valerie Sheares Ashby, who has studied to show herself approved. We thank you for the leadership she has already given here at UMBC. And we thank you for these moments to pause and celebrate your love for us, in that you crafted her in such a way that she would have everything she needs to lead UMBC into new territory. Be with Dr. Valerie, the UMBC community, and the larger community today as we press forward. Remind us of these moments in days to come when the hills are hard to climb. Give vision, give strength, sustain us. Be with Dr. Valerie Ashby Sheares as she seeks to go your way. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to you and true to our native land. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. A brief reflection. Dr. Valerie, today we, along with the ancestors, have gathered to celebrate in ceremonial fashion you as the president of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. We celebrate the beginning of a new era with you at the helm. You have been the president for over 9 months, but today your communities celebrate with ceremonial grandeur your leadership. Inauguration speaks of a new beginning or introduction. It's the ceremony that marks the beginning. It literally has been translated to mean consecrated by the priest. What gets consecrated or devoted is a sacred person. The person is consecrated as sacred. Down through the years, we have also inaugurated systems and periods. In this new beginning, we have gathered to declare the sacredness of President Valerie Sheares Ashby. Not only are we declaring your beginning in this space, we also declare that you bring with you a system and a period. You bring with you methods, tools, ideas, and heart. And you usher in a new period in the history of UMBC. This is an awesome opportunity for you and UMBC to have a new beginning. This is an opportunity to serve students, one another, and the community at another level. The late Dr. Katie Geneva Cannon implored us, do the work that our souls must have. It is evident that you've been doing the work that your soul must have. That's a part of how you arrived at this moment. Yes, you are a brilliant scholar and master administrator, and we celebrate those gifts and skills. You are also the chief encourager, motivator, and liberator. I had the privilege of witnessing President Valerie's interaction with some of the staff and many students about a month ago. And the warmth and trust exchanged between them was refreshing and encouraging. Indeed, this is a special day. It is to serve as a touch point for when times get rough. Take all of this in and enjoy every bit of it, because at some point there will be trouble around you. And you've seen trouble before. You know what it looks like and you know what it feels like. While trouble may be around you, don't you let trouble get inside of you. When times get tough, always remember that your ultimate purpose is to live. Live abundantly into the fullness of who you are. Surely, grace and mercy will follow you all the days of your life. Continue to live in the goodness of God.
failing. All my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. See, all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. It has led me through the fire in darkest days. You were close like no other. I know you as a father. I know you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. Oh, all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Oh, your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. See, all my life God has been faithful. And all my life he has been so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God. Today is a good day, and I sing of the goodness of God.
Thank you both so much. We are honored that you could join us on this special day. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce guests who will bring greetings to President Sheares Ashby. First, it is my great pleasure to introduce Regent Farah Helal, who will provide greetings on behalf of the University System of Maryland Board of Regents. Farah is also a UMBC Retriever, a member of the class of 2024, and a Sondheim Public Affairs Scholar in UMBC's Honors College. Please join me in welcoming Regent Halal.
Thank you, Dr. McDonough, and thank you everyone for being with us here today. It is such a pleasure to be here on behalf of the University System of Maryland Board of Regents and as a proud retriever. And I'm so proud of our president, Dr. Valerie Sheares Ashby. As you know, many university system governing bodies have no student representation whatsoever, let alone a student who serves as a full member. It is a tremendous honor and important duty to serve on this board, and it's one that I take very seriously. The appointment of a president is one of the board's most important duties, and I can tell you, both as a member of the Board of Regents and as a student at UMBC, that the board made an outstanding selection when appointing Dr. Valerie Sheares Ashby. As a member of the board, I have seen her represent UMBC with strength and pride, connect with her peers across the system, and explore new partnerships and possibilities. As a student here at UMBC, I have seen her firsthand passion for excellence, her connection with her students, and her commitment to the broader campus community. I look forward to seeing what the future holds for President Sheares Ashby and UMBC as they continue to grow together. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Jay Perman, Chancellor of the University System of Maryland. It has been such a pleasure to serve with him and learn from his mentorship. We are lucky to have him with us here today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Regent Halal, thank you so much for your introduction and for your leadership on behalf of the university system. What a joy it is to be at this university, where I come and visit often on this historic occasion. I'm certainly grateful for a very important role later in the ceremony to convey the charge of the office of the president to Dr. Sheares Ashby. But I have another role right now that's an equal pleasure and privilege. And that's to introduce some very special elected leaders who have come here to pay tribute to this storied university and to the woman chosen to lead it. First, it is an extreme privilege to come to this podium and introduce the 63rd Governor of Maryland, the Honorable Wes Moore.
Reverse. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Good afternoon, please, everybody, please.
Governor.
So good to see you.
Governor.
Yes, sir.
I have no right to interrupt you, but I'm not done. Please stay there. Just a moment, please. Look, it's fitting that we hear from a governor, and I might add a Rhodes Scholar, who speaks so movingly about the impact that education has had on his own life. You've heard it, I've heard it. A governor who has worked tirelessly over his distinguished career already in the public and the private sectors to open up higher education to those who've been historically overlooked and underserved. We at the system, and I speak for all the presidents here, and all who make this system what it is, we're deeply grateful, Governor, for your friendship, for your obvious and deeply felt commitment to public higher education, and certainly for your presence here today. Governor Moore, please address us.
Thank you so much. Mr. Chancellor, you can interrupt me and say that anytime you'd like, actually. I appreciate that, sir. He's like, I'm gonna let you finish, but. I am so humbled and excited to be here. And first I tell you, Mr. Chancellor, thank you. Bless you, thank you for your leadership, thank you for your friendship, now and always. And I tell you, Retrievers, it is nice being here on such an important and such a beautiful day, on a day that we are going to celebrate someone who we don't adore already for everything that you have done already for this campus and for this state, but for everything that we know that you are still yet to do. And we're gonna be better off because of it. And I have to tell you, Dr. Ashby, if I can just take a personal point of privilege as the governor of Maryland, considering the fact that you did come from Duke, I love how Maryland just beat Duke again. All right, I'm done. But it is great to be with each and every one of you. For all the students and the staff and the faculty and the family members, for the elected officials, for our community leaders, for all of us who are here, for our regents, and our members of the UMBC family, for all of us who are gathered here for an incredibly special occasion and an important occasion in our state's history. Because today really is a celebration. Today's a celebration of vision. It's a celebration of unbridled excellence. A celebration that our beloved UMBC is not in good hands, it's in great ones. It's in great hands at a time when we know how much we need them. Because at a time when we have seen how higher education and so many elements have been under attack like never before, we know that it's these hands that will help to guide us. We know that at a time when we need higher education to excel and higher education to lead our state into a bright future like never before, that it's going to be these hands who is going to help to steer that ship and bring us to a higher ground. It's absolutely remarkable when you believe and when you understand that you've been here really for a short period of time, and the amount of impact that you have made already has just been absolutely spectacular. I'm just amazed by the amount of energy that you have. And I heard you don't drink coffee, so I'm trying to figure out what exactly is it. But it's your energy, it's your passion, it's your vision, it's your focus that makes you absolutely right for this moment. It's your vision, it's your heart, and it's your history too. And we admire President Ashby because she comes from a family of educators. A mom who taught English, a dad who taught math and science. She has spent her entire life serving others as a scholar, serving others as a teacher, serving others as a mentor to so many young women. I tell you, when you consider your background, you were built for this role. Absolutely built for it. And Dr. Valerie also understands that there is a specific duty that we have to ensure and encourage all of our young people, each and every one of them, to pursue their dreams, no matter their race, no matter their religion, no matter their family income, no matter their zip code, no matter their family lineage. And not because it's nice to say, or not because it feels good to hear, and not because it's part of some social experiment, but because when we embrace our beautiful diversity, we make our community stronger. And in the words of Dr. Ashby herself, diversity equals excellence. And you are absolutely right. So it is absolutely fitting that we now have her as the president here at UMBC, an institution that understands that power, that understands that we don't have to choose between advancing innovation and advancing equity. We can and we will do both. An institution that has produced more black students who go on to earn MDs and PhDs and every other acronym known to man than any other college in the United States of America. An institution that's recognized as one of the best research institutions in the world, and it's right here in the heart of Maryland. When I say this is going to be Maryland's decade, I say that with full faith and confidence. Because I know the ground that we're standing on right now. And I know the leader who's going to help us to get there. And so, on behalf of every single Marylander, from Catonsville to Crisfield, we say thank you. Thank you for serving. Thank you for leading. Thank you for reminding every single child in this state that there is nothing you can't do. And thank you for your work, because it's your work and your legacy that's going to lead us to higher ground. Congratulations, and bless you, Dr. Ashby.
I apologized for interrupting him. Thank you, Governor. And now, but you have to wait a minute, please. I'd like to ask the Honorable Mark Chang to the podium. Delegate Chang is with us today on behalf of UMBC alumna Adrian Jones, Speaker of the Maryland House of Delegates. How fortunate are we that Delegate Chang is also a proud graduate of this university. And then I'll have a chance after Delegate Chang to let you hear from Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski. And if you sense a theme, you are correct. The county executive is also a UMBC alumnus. So it's an honor to welcome both of them home. Delegate Chang, please offer us greetings.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Perman. It's a wonderful day in Retriever Nation. It is great to be back home as a proud alum of the class of '99 psychology major here. It's wonderful to see. That's right, psychoanalysis major. You can do a lot with the psych major. I tell you what, it's really a great honor to be here. Congratulations to President Sheares Ashby on leading this wonderful institution. And we've come a long way as Retrievers. As Retrievers, we have a lot to be proud of. And this afternoon, I'd like to also have the great honor of presenting a resolution on behalf of another proud alum, the Maryland House of Delegates Speaker, Adrian Jones, class of '76. Dr. Sheares Ashby, if you could please join me up here. On behalf of Speaker Jones, we'd like to present a resolution for the Maryland House of Delegates. Be it hereby known to all that the House of Delegates of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to Dr. Valerie Sheares Ashby in recognition of your inauguration as president of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Your leadership and vision will continue UMBC's strong tradition of groundbreaking research, workforce training, and career development. The entire membership extends best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution to be presented on this 27th day of April, 2023, and signed by the Speaker of the House, Adrian Jones, and also all the members of the Maryland House of Delegates. Congratulations, Madam President.
Thank you, Delegate Chang. And now, County Executive Johnny Olszewski.
Well, thank you, Chancellor, and good afternoon, Retriever Nation. I have to say, not only as Baltimore County Executive, as a former teacher myself, Dr. Ashby, but most importantly, as a proud UMBC alum, PhD class of 2017, I am so deeply honored to join you for your inauguration today. It is always a privilege to come back to UMBC, but especially so for momentous occasions such as this. Since the beginning of her work in September, Dr. Sheares Ashby has been a model of leadership for our educators, students, and the entire UMBC community. President Sheares Ashby, congratulations on this well-deserved inauguration and welcome officially to Baltimore County. We are so proud to have you leading UMBC. Thank you to our many esteemed partners in progress, Governor Wes Moore, Baltimore County's Speaker Adrian Jones, Delegate Chang, Regent Halal, Chancellor Perman, and to all of the other university partners, presidents, students, alumni, and advocates who are joining us to set new standards of excellence. You know, even as we look forward to the future at UMBC, I believe it's also important that we acknowledge our past. Indeed, over the past several decades, this school has transformed from a role as a regional gem into a truly world-renowned research institution and barrier-breaking university. UMBC is a Cinderella story. And not just because we'll never forget that feeling when we upset UVA in the NCAA championship. No, UMBC is a Cinderella story because we can't express how deeply we appreciate the transformation that this institution is leading. The transformation for students who have come to this campus. The transformation to the surrounding communities here in Baltimore County and Maryland who feel and experience the energy that this campus brings to them. The transformation this university has brought to the world, whether it's helping to develop life-saving vaccines or putting women of color in the most important positions in our state government. We can honor that history and transformation by building on that rich history. And that legacy is absolutely in the right hands with President Sheares Ashby. It goes without saying, you have some big shoes to fill. But the most exciting news of it all is that there is absolutely no doubt in my mind, or in any of our minds, that you are the perfect leader to carry UMBC into a new era of innovation and success. Not only have you already made UMBC history on your own, in just a few short months, you have shown that your passion for learning and demands for excellence will strengthen the foundations of this great school, further inspiring future generations of visionaries and difference makers. You understand that leadership means service, service to our students, our educators, our support staff, and yes, our communities. And furthermore, you know that service is neither an obligation nor a burden. Service is a privilege. We have absolute confidence in you, in your vision for inclusive excellence, your experience, your compassion, your dedication, and I know I speak for all UMBC Retrievers when I say that we know this world-class institution is ready to achieve new heights of excellence and success under your leadership. Thank you, Dr. Sheares Ashby, for taking on this privilege and this responsibility. Thank you for adding to the historic legacy that is the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And on behalf of the residents of Baltimore County, congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you, County Executive. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce members of the UMBC community who will provide greetings on behalf of UMBC alumni, staff, and students. Please welcome Brian Frazee, President of the UMBC Alumni Association Board of Directors, who will be followed by UMBC's other shared governance leaders.
Thank you, Dr. McDonough, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Frazee, and I am a double UMBC alum graduating with a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's degree in public policy. In addition, thank you. In addition to my role as president of the UMBC Alumni Association Board of Directors, I also serve as vice president of government affairs for the Maryland Hospital Association. And it is an absolute honor to be here today to bring greetings on behalf of the UMBC Alumni Association, as well as the more than 85,000 alumni we have around the world on this historic day as we welcome Dr. Valerie Sheares Ashby as our new leader. I always say that there is a special pride associated with being a member of the UMBC Alumni Association community. And 3 years into my tenure as president of the Alumni Board, I still haven't found the adequate words to describe that pride. And yet every time I say that, everyone seems to know exactly what I'm talking about. But what I do know is that the entire alumni community is so excited to support our new leader, Dr. Valerie Sheares Ashby, as she continues UMBC's legacy and takes us to new heights. Thank you so much.
It is truly a joy to be here today. My name is Jess Wyatt, and I'm an Associate Director for Alumni Engagement at UMBC. I am pleased to bring greetings on behalf of UMBC's exempt staff. I serve as the President of the Professional Staff Senate and the Chair of the University Steering Committee. The Professional Staff Senate and all of UMBC's shared governance groups advocate for the well-being of all our community members. We do this through relationship building throughout all areas of campus to uplift the whole community and advance our institution. It is such an honor to welcome you, Dr. Sheares Ashby. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It is a privilege to be here today with all of you to celebrate this historic occasion. My name is Desiree Stonecipher, and I am a business services specialist in the Financial Services Department at UMBC. I serve as president of the Non-Exempt Staff Senate. The Non-Exempt Staff Senate is delighted to share today's investiture of Dr. Sheares Ashby. We look forward to expanding and strengthening the interdependent role of shared governance. Welcome, Dr. Sheares Ashby.
Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to bring greetings on behalf of UMBC's graduate students. I am Ethan Post, president of the Graduate Student Association and a student in the Historical Studies program at UMBC. UMBC became an R1 institution just prior to Dr. Sheares Ashby joining our community. This means a lot to us as graduate students for the opportunities it provides, but it did not yet feel like we were part of the entire UMBC community. A huge consensus from grad students was we felt a little separate from the rest of the institution. However, as soon as Dr. Sheares Ashby arrived and I heard her speak, she mentioned her enthusiasm for the grad student body, and my hair stood up on my arms. Because it felt like we had finally found a president that truly heard us, and we had been yearning for a better sense of recognition and belonging on UMBC's campus. Dr. Sheares Ashby has consistently affirmed that when she means all students, she means all grad students as well. Not only does this make us feel supported, it makes us feel heard, because it shows that she's in touch with exactly with what we've been looking for in terms of support, community, and engagement. It's been a pleasure to work alongside you, and although this is my last semester, I look forward to see what we can possibly accomplish as grad students in the future.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Sheares, and I'm the president of the Student Government Association. I'm a Meyerhoff Scholar and a pre-medical student of the class of 2024. On behalf of UMBC's undergraduate students, it's my esteemed honor to extend a warm welcome to each of you as we celebrate the dawn of a new era for our university. To lead is to listen. In her time here already, Dr. Sheares Ashby has made us students feel heard. And I know that as long as she is here listening, UMBC students are going to leave her office and leave UMBC grown, empowered, and successful in our endeavors. SGA and all of UMBC's shared governance are platforms for our student voice to be given importance and lead the university to support our learning. I want to thank President Sheares Ashby for listening to this voice, and I want to welcome her to a campus that has a lot to say. Thank you.
Thank all of you for those wonderful words and for your service to UMBC. It is such an honor to introduce our next two speakers. As many of you know, President Sheares Ashby believes strongly in the power of mentorship. She speaks often about the role that mentors have played in shaping her life and career. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from two of her deeply valued mentors. First, we will hear from Henry T. Frierson, Professor Emeritus in the College of Education and past Associate Vice President and Dean of the Graduate School at the University of Florida. Dr. Frierson spent more than 30 years on the faculty of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where he was Professor of Educational Psychology and Director of the Research Education Support Program, an initiative funded by the National Science Foundation and the National Institutes of Health to support students from underrepresented minority groups at the undergraduate and graduate levels. He served on the faculty of both the School of Education and the School of Medicine at UNC, where he founded and directed the Learning Assessment Laboratory. He has been a trailblazer in advancing diversity in graduate education in the STEM fields, and President Sheares Ashby credits her participation in his summer research program as the reason why she decided to pursue a PhD. Dr. Frierson continues to serve as a role model and an inspiration to her today. Following Dr. Frierson, we will hear from Joseph DeSimone, the Sanjeev Sam Gambhir Professor of Translational Medicine and Chemical Engineering at Stanford University. Before joining Stanford in 2020, he was a professor of chemistry at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and of chemical engineering at North Carolina State University. Dr. DeSimone is responsible for numerous breakthroughs in his career in areas including green chemistry, medical devices, nanomedicine, and 3D printing. In 2016, President Barack Obama awarded him with the National Medal of Technology and Innovation, one of many significant honors and awards he has received. Dr. DeSimone is one of a select few individuals to have been elected to all three branches of the U.S. National Academies: Sciences, Medicine, and Engineering. He has mentored 80 students through PhD completion in his career, half of whom are women and members of underrepresented groups in STEM. His first graduate student, our own President Sheares Ashby. Dr. Frierson.
Thank you, Dr. Dono. Greetings. Now, this is a great time for me, a great day, because I claim Dr. Valerie Sheares Ashby as one of my children. She was part of a group of undergraduates who participated in the summer research that was mentioned, who called themselves Hank's Brats. Now, I was it was Dr. Fryerson's brats at that time, but as they moved on, it became Hank's brats. And like Dr. Sheares Ashby, the brats have gone on to great accomplishments. Now, last year, Dr. Sheares Ashby excitedly called me to say that the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, contacted her to inquire if she might have any interest in being considered for the presidency. And the excitement was palpable across the cell towers. She was excited because, based on UMBC's national reputation, she loved what UMB stands for, stood for and stands for, in its student focus and its emerging research growth. When she was selected, she was ecstatic because she saw the wonderful opportunities to build and expand upon the great work forged under my friend Freeman Raboski, as well as contribute to UMBC's climb as a research one and a world university. Dr. Valerie Ashby's academic journey to the present started in the last stages of our undergraduate term with the type of program where now in many places of the country, because of its DEI focus, would be under attack or totally dismantled. Dr. Sheares Ashby is a product of the type of program that is now being targeted by sources that will remain nameless. She was in the initial cohort of the summer research of the summer pre-graduate research experience program at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and that program was known as SPGRE. And SPGRE was designed to introduce underrepresented students of color to a full-time graduate level research experience for the entire summer and encourage them to apply and enroll in graduate schools, preferably PhD programs. That program introduced Dr. Sheares Ashby and many others to this distinct possibility of getting a PhD degree and achieving positions many would have never conceived. That was a program from which almost 250 students who participated actually obtained PhD degrees. Most fittingly, during Dr. Sheares Ashby's faculty tenure at UNC Chapel Hill, the baton was passed to her, and as a full professor, she became director of that program and other related programs as well. Thus, she carried on to further unleash the potential within young individuals. Upon embarking on her own academic professional journey, Dr. Sheares Ashby went through the steps that have taken her to where she is now, from a guided student, researcher, and developing scholar, to a knowledge generator as a doctoral student, then securing an International Science Foundation postdoctoral fellowship in Germany, and developing scholar to launch her academic career. She became an accomplished faculty member at two major universities. First, Iowa State University, and then UNC Chapel Hill. And at UNC Chapel Hill, attaining a named professorship in chemistry. Afterwards, becoming a department chair of the highly regarded chemistry department at UNC. And then to become the academic dean at Duke University's famed Trinity College. And now, the president of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Now, applause. Now, be assured, Dr. Sheares Ashby is fully up to the task as president of UMBC. You've already gotten a taste of that. She has so many qualities that will serve UMBC well in all aspects. She will make the alumni proud by expanding further the name of UMBC. And with her full commitment to students, she will make them glad she was selected as their new president. Her compassion and fairness will be felt by staff members at all levels. And with Dr. Sheares Ashby being steeped in the professoriate, based on the foundation of her very successful faculty career, the faculty will have a robust champion in her. She is an academic scholar through and through. And her commitment to UMBC will have no bounds. You have truly gained a champion as your new president of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. UMBC was blessed with Dr. Roboski. Now President Ashby will continue, strengthen, and further expand what has been established and will bless UMBC with continued growth and recognition. There are those who are in leadership positions, and there are those who are leaders. There are those in leadership positions, and there are those who are leaders. President Sheares Ashby is a leader. The University of Maryland and UMBC has selected well. Now, go Retrievers.
Students, faculty, staff, distinguished platform party, Chancellor Perman, Governor Moore. Hank and I have been asked to come and introduce Valerie to you all. This is a significant and pioneering day for UMBC, for Valerie, as you heard, my former student, my first PhD student. If I don't say first, I get corrected. Valerie, Bud, we call each other Bud. I'm very proud and grateful to you. Proud because of all of your accomplishments. We've heard them all. You've read her bio sketch, you've read her CV. Her passion for students, her prowess in a lab, her success as a polymer chemist, her teaching excellence, her mentorship of others, including me. Her ability to herd cats and lead academic departments. That's a service to one's colleagues. Her ability to be dean of departments and students, an often thankless job. And her last feat, I need to correct the record. Governor, you said she was from Duke. Valerie spent time at Duke. Valerie is a Tar Heel. And her most significant feat was pretending to root for Duke basketball. All kidding aside, who is Valerie Ashby? Let me start with a few facts to frame some of who she is. Valerie is the daughter of James Nathaniel Sheares Sr. Mr. Sheares was a pastor and presiding elder in the 2nd Episcopal District of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Mr. Sheares was also a chemistry and mathematics teacher at Allen University, at South Carolina State University. He was also a chemistry and math teacher for their local high school and a math teacher and local education outreach program. He gave back to others with his love of education. Mr. Sheares grew up in Charleston, South Carolina. Valerie is the daughter of Shirley and James Sheares. I've had a chance to meet Mrs. Sheares many times. She was a force. She would have said you wasted too much time in hiring Valerie and too much money. She was also a high school teacher of English language and literature. She was director of adult education at Johnson County Community College. She also grew up in South Carolina. She also shared her love for education with others. She was a talented and gifted teacher. The apple does not fall far from the tree. Both of Mrs. Sheares' great-grandparents were sharecroppers. History is not so long ago. What was Valerie like growing up? For that, I got some help from Valerie's sister, Beverly, Dr. Beverly Sheares, who is professor of pediatrics at Yale University School of Medicine, another extremely accomplished Sheares. According to Beverly, Valerie was self-driven, someone who worked hard to carve her own path. I knew that trait already about Valerie. Beverly says Valerie had lots of friends and has the longest of lasting friendships. Valerie is indeed a loyal friend. Beverly says that what drives Valerie is her desire for everyone around her to have the best life they can have. Beverly went on to say that because of the blessings of their parents bestowed upon them, blessings not of material things, but blessings in terms of creating a calm and safe home for them, for growth and exploration, and an ability to laugh at themselves, to have social connections, and to have well-being. Because of this, Valerie is driven to do the same for every person she meets. I knew this about Valerie too, but it's cool to see where her love for others emanated from. But who is Valerie Sheares Ashby from my perspective? This is a little hard to contextualize because we've been friends for such a good time. First of all, Valerie received her PhD from me and from the University of North Carolina in 3.5 years. Of the 80 students at Carolina and NC State and now at Stanford University, I don't think that record will be broken. That's remarkable, and that puts her in rare air. After Valerie received her PhD with me at UNC, she secured a NATO postdoctoral fellowship with the eminent professor Raimund Stadler in Mainz, Germany. Raimund was the most pioneering polymer scientist at the time, and he shared his craft with Valerie, and Valerie honed that craft. She started interviewing for faculty positions after that time in Germany, and she got amazing job offers from MIT, Georgia Tech, NC State. Came in my office, talked to me about the plan. She was going to go to Iowa State. And I looked at her. I had to check where Iowa was. I'm a Philly guy. And she told me that she chose Iowa State because the faculty there reminded her of Chapel Hill. A very mature answer to a very immature questioner. We learn a lot from our students, and Valerie taught me a lot about the important lessons of values and impact. She chose the characteristics of Carolina at Iowa State because she wanted to be part of that. I think Valerie sees the same opportunity here too now at UMBC, a place where she and students and faculty alike can thrive in a safe and nurturing environment of inquiry, debate, and learning. After rising through the ranks at Iowa State, receiving tenure there, my colleague Ed Samolsky, who's in the audience, approached me and said, is it okay for us to recruit Valerie back to Chapel Hill? I said, of course. And then she came and her students started calling me Gramps. And then she became my boss. Be kind to your students. And then she was stolen from Carolina to be dean at the very prestigious Duke University, where she lived. She was beloved by students, faculty, colleagues, and other academic leaders there. So she's played every academic role. She's prepared. She's overly prepared, like she always is. I think one of Valerie's greatest attributes is that people can see themselves in Valerie's shoes. And she does this simply because she makes whatever she does look so comfortable and easy, because it seems that way, but she is that way because of her grit and tenacity at always being prepared. Valerie is a role model for those that don't see it in themselves, that they too can achieve greatness. And achieving greatness, they will, and you will. So when you take a step back, UMBC is getting not only a talented academic scholar and administrator, but you are getting a true leader, a leader of people, one who will inspire excellence and greatness in all that come in contact with her. For me, Valerie brings together the very best of a team player. She's a spectacular combination of humble, hungry, and smart. And in my book, these are the essential traits of servant leadership that she exemplifies. My last point, and maybe some advice to you all, I once quipped Valerie that there was some exciting things going on at Carolina in a particular program that our Chancellor Holden Thorpe was implementing. And I said to Valerie, just like it says in the Bible, a rising tide raises all boats. And she looked at me and quickly said, that's not in the Bible, Joe. She said, that was John F. Kennedy. I said, Valerie, I'm Catholic, same thing. So advice to you all, be better prepared than I often am, because Valerie is going to expect it. Valerie, I'm absolutely thrilled for you and the UMBC. You're going to do a great job here, and keep going.
Thank you for those wonderful remarks, Dr. Frierson and Dr. DeSimone. It's now an honor and a privilege to welcome Linda Gooden, Chair of the University System of Maryland Board of Regents, and Chancellor Jay Perman, to conduct the official presidential installation.
Once again, good afternoon. It's a glorious day when we inaugurate a new president. It's a day of celebration, not only of a leader, but of the community she cultivates, a community of scholars and thinkers, makers and creators, explorers, believers. All of you here, you are that community, and you deserve the hope and pride and joy filling this arena today. Because today, our vision of the future is unclouded by obstacles, but when those obstacles come, and they will, I hope all of us will draw upon the promise of this day for the strength to surmount them. Never have I been more confident that a group of people united in their purpose and bound by their values will do just that. As Chancellor of the University System of Maryland, it's my privilege to confer upon your leader the charge of the office of the President. And so, Dr. Sheares Ashby, will you please join me here at the podium? President Valerie Sheares Ashby, I hereby charge you to live the mission that animates this university's daily work and enduring value. I charge you to welcome and inspire those who have hearts of inquiry, those who seek answers and pursue the truth. I charge you to prove again and again the premise and promise of inclusive excellence, that all students can achieve great things regardless of wealth or race or address or experience. And I charge you to create the conditions in which this achievement takes root and flowers. I charge you to nurture the scholars who work across disciplines and differences to solve the greatest challenges of our age. The innovators whose work shrinks the unknown, the untested, the untried, and expands the boundaries of our human understanding. The servant leaders who close gaps of equity, who close gaps of opportunity, prosperity, and justice, so that all might find peace and fulfillment. I urge you to anchor your beloved community, to engage your neighbors as equal partners, and use your assets, influence, and expertise for their benefit. I urge you to value the perspectives and contributions of your extraordinary UMBC family, and to join with them to reshape again the American Academy. What we prize, what we strive for, what we expect of ourselves, and what we know is possible. I ask you to hold this special university in the highest regard, to strengthen its programs and its people, to honor the traditions of your past while embracing the wide open possibilities of your future, and to keep telling and telling UMBC's powerful story so that others might follow boldly in your path. Valerie, I'm so happy for you. On behalf of the entire university system, congratulations.
Good afternoon, Retriever Nation. As chair of the University System of Maryland Board of Regents, I'm honored to be here today to celebrate this wonderful occasion. I also bring greetings from my fellow regents, and I'm pleased to see so many members of the USM family with us as we formally install Dr. Valerie Sheares Ashby as UMBC's 6th president. UMBC is truly a special place. You've heard that from many speakers. It's a force for education, research, and public service. It's ranked and recognized nationally and internationally for its commitment to inclusiveness. In short, UMBC is everything that's best about public higher education. And Dr. Sheares Ashby is the ideal leader for this university. She's an accomplished researcher, as we heard, a scholar, an educator. She's committed to enhancing access, affordability, and student success. She understands the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion among students, faculty, staff, and leadership. And she is an inspiring servant leader, bringing out the best in her colleagues. Taken together, these fortify her ambitious goal of redefining excellence in higher education through an inclusive culture. It is now my privilege and pleasure to confer UMBC's highest office upon Dr. Valerie Sheares Ashby. In a moment, she will receive a symbol of this office, the President's Medallion. The medallion's weight is a reminder of the heavy responsibilities that must be willingly carried by all who occupy positions of leadership. And the design on its face, a reproduction of the university's seal, is a representation of the large community she serves. Dr. Sheares Ashby, you have been duly selected to serve as president of UMBC. As chair of the USM Board of Regents, it is my pleasure to install you in that office with all of its requisite privileges and responsibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in celebrating the formal installation of Valerie Sheares Ashby as the 6th president of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
Thank you so very much. I so appreciate the analogy of the weight. I wondered why it was heavy. Now I know. Now I know why it was heavy. So first, let me say thank you to Janice Jackson and to the Jubilee Singers for that inspiring performance. Join me in thanking our students again. I attended one of their rehearsals, and they were singing, and they said, we have a song we want to sing for you, and they sang that song, and I immediately invited them to come to this event. So if you have a talent and you don't want me to use it, just keep it to yourself. Okay. To Governor Moore, what a special privilege it is to have you here. Thank you for your kind remarks. We are honored to have you with us here today on this UMBC campus. I had the privilege and pleasure of attending Governor Moore's inauguration in January, and so much of what you said resonated with me. I remember him saying, Maryland can be bold, Maryland can lead, and we will not leave anyone behind. That was a beautiful statement. It just resonated so with me. This is a special moment in both of our stories, and UMBC is ready to partner with you on all things that are inclusive and excellent. So thank you for everything that you're doing. To Delegate Chang and County Executive Olszewski, thank you for your presence. We welcome you here and all of the elected officials and government leaders, and I'm so happy that they just announced that you all were alums, right? Proud alums. So thank you to all of the government leaders who have joined us here today. Thank you for your support of higher education and specifically of your investment in the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. To the University System of Maryland Board of Regents, Board Chair Gooden, and Chancellor Perman, thank you for entrusting me with the extraordinary privilege of leading this institution. To my fellow system presidents, I am so grateful for your warm and generous welcome and the pleasure of joining you in advancing Maryland's truly outstanding public higher education system. These presidents have been a joy with which to work. To the people of Baltimore County, particularly our neighbors in Arbutus and Catonsville, and to the city of Baltimore, I am so thrilled to have found a home in this vibrant, beautiful region that is as Southern in its hospitality as it is fierce in its pride of place and people. To Susan McDonough, Brian Frazee, and our shared governance leaders, I thank you for the important roles and leadership not only that you've played in today's ceremony, but also for your work with and for UMBC every day. To those here in the arena and those watching remotely, those among our campus community of students, faculty, staff, and our global communities of alumni, families, and friends, I am grateful that you chose to be a part of this ceremony. This ceremony is about the entire community and not about a single person. And I want to say a special thank you to those, and I want to honor those whose contributions have come together to put together all of the inauguration activities for this entire week. I just keep repeating, we haven't had one in 30 years. So the work that they had to do to really come up with this and create this is just phenomenal. It has been a beautiful week. I do want to share some more personal thank yous also. To Dr. Henry Frierson, my first academic mentor, the person who saw me, and then the person who saw in me a professor. He then prepared me and he guided me into graduate school. What he has done for decades for underrepresented students in preparing us for careers in academia is simply extraordinary. Hank, I would not be here without you. To Dr. Joseph DeSimone, I was his first PhD student. I'm just saying. My PhD advisor, who did everything in his power to prepare me for the career of a lifetime. I cannot begin to tell you how much I owe him. It's a beautiful gift to have a PhD advisor who sees in you what you cannot see in yourself. He has remained committed to me consistently since the first day that I met him. And let me just say, when I met him, he was 25. And I was 23. And as he's talking about people who finish PhDs quickly, he finished his in 3 years. I'm just 3 years. 3 years. 3 years. and to Dr. Holden Thorpe, who is editor-in-chief of science journals. Holden spoke last evening. Holden gave me my first administrative role as director of undergraduate studies in the chemistry department at UNC Chapel Hill. I had no idea what I was doing. And he guided me with his values through administrative leadership in that role and in every role that I have had since. He has been wise counsel to me for many years, and I treasure him as a friend. For the countless hours that they have given to me, for the many doors that they have opened for me, for remaining my go-to people who still see and create opportunities for me even to this day, for 40 years with Dr. Frierson, 32 years with that young Joe DeSimone, and with 20 years of consistent love from Holden Thorpe. That has been the reason why I've been able to do what I have done and to stand here today. I just want to say that I am truly, truly grateful. Thank you all. So there's a family sitting in front of me. It's mine. They mean the world to me. They are present in full force today. I would like to acknowledge the entire Sheares family. My eldest brother, James, don't stand up yet. I know you want to be singled out, but just hold on. I know you. His wife, Wilma, and their children and their families. My sister, Beverly, her wife, Karen, and Karen's family. My brother, Brian, the baby, although I still claim to be the baby, just so you know. My auntie, Aura, who told me I could tell you that she is 91 years young. And members of her family. And last but not least, my own precious children, James and Jada. Would you please stand? Now the entire Sheares family, please stand. Okay, y'all can sit down now. And if you're wondering, do we always travel as a Sheares crowd? The answer is yes. Yes. There are two people who are not here physically who I must also thank for this beautiful, supportive family, for our sense of humor and joy, for our love and encouragement of each other, for our spiritual grounding, and for our commitment to excellence, education, and to the service of others. And if you've heard me talk, you know I'm talking about my parents, James and Shirley Sheares. My dad was a math and science teacher, as you have heard, a pastor and a presiding elder in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. My mother was an English teacher who loved Shakespeare and theater, and who in her vocation started and ran a shelter for working and unhoused men in the city of Raleigh, North Carolina for 30 years. She did that while she had a full-time job. Recently renamed in her honor after her passing, this place was born out of a need to create what did not exist for those who were unseen, relegated to the outskirts of mainstream society, and often forgotten. And let me tell you, they were the proudest parents I have ever seen. Obnoxiously proud. So they would have loved every ounce of today, and you would have been ready for them to go home by now, for sure. They would have loved our students. They would have loved our values the same way that I do. And they would have loved how you have welcomed their daughter. So this is a surprise for my family. So on this day that honors this institution and the life-giving difference that it has made in the lives of so many, I am pleased to announce that I am establishing the James and Shirley Sheares Family Scholarship Endowment at UMBC. This will be a need-based scholarship for undergraduate and graduate students, Ethan, across the disciplines. And I can hear my mother's voice saying, now don't be skimpy. Make sure you put enough in there so that the children have what they need. And I would be saying, yes, ma'am. I also want to thank my friends from North Carolina, my childhood neighborhood friends and classmates from Clayton. My two best friends growing up from K through 12 are here. I know. My dear friends from Durham, my cherished UNC Chapel Hill family, who raised me as an undergraduate and as a graduate student, and to my more recent but deeply loved Duke friends who are here today. There they are. You know, there are few people in this world who can say that they love UNC and Duke, especially this time of year. And I count myself among those who love and have received love from both. I also want to acknowledge my newest friends in Maryland. I have new friends in Maryland. And my Bethel AME Church family, my pastor in absentia and his wife, Reverend Sheares Smith Claiborne. Thank you for being here. And to Marette Brown Clark, who was phenomenal. Their love and ministry have welcomed, sustained, and Reverend Sheares expanded my life over this last year. All of these people, places, and institutions have given me a set of core values that I treasure. Because of them, I believe that education can change individual lives and families for generations to come. That true excellence can never be achieved without diversity, that leadership requires courage, and that every day that I am given the opportunity to encourage, support, and uplift another human being or learn something from them, that's a good day. And finally, I honor those who helped build this institution. I acknowledge all of the leaders who preceded me: Alvin O'Kuhn, Calvin B.T. Lee, Lewis Kaplan, and Michael Hooker. But today, I want to pay a special tribute to the leader who guided, grew, and imagined UMBC for 30 of its 56 years, President Emeritus Freeman Hrabowski. What Freeman did to create UMBC, as we now know and love it, to lift up its mission and challenge all of higher education to follow UMBC's example of diversity, equity, and inclusion, to champion this community and continue to strive for innovation and progress, and to honor its people every year, every week, every day of his tenure is nothing short of amazing. And it is pure joy and a privilege for me to serve UMBC and to work each day to carry on his extraordinary legacy. I will tell you that when we realized that our schedules were not going to work for him to be here today, we were very sad. By the way, who do you think is the first person who texted me this morning? But in true Freeman style, what he told me to relay to you is that he's out working for UMBC. I'll share a quick Freeman story with you. We all have them. I met him for the very first time 10 years ago. I was sitting in his office at a table that had been there for 20 or so years. And about 30 minutes into the conversation, he looked at me and he said, "You're going to be a president one day." Now, at that time, I was a professor of organic chemistry, had not served as department chair, had not served as dean. So when I sat at that same table with him 10 years later last April and saw the look of that proud man on his face, the look on his face of a proud father, oh, let me tell you, that was special. And so I would like to take this opportunity to thank both Freeman and his wife, Jackie. They have been a tremendous set of leaders for this institution, and we all are truly grateful. I'm going to ask you to stand and give them a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. As you might expect with an inauguration address, I am going to spend some time imagining our future and all that we will accomplish together. But first, I want to reflect on the journey that UMBC has taken already, because it is in that journey that we see everything we need to know about what we value, why it matters, and just what we can accomplish when we put our minds to something. This beautiful community was born out of a vigorous debate over the best way to meet the needs of the growing number of Marylanders heading to college in the 1960s. What type of institution should it be? Where should it be located? What would it be called? After more than a decade of commissions and reports, the University of Maryland, Baltimore County was born with a groundbreaking upon the land of the Piscataway and Susquehannock peoples on January 25th, 1965, and with an official opening on September the 19th, 1966. I want to tell you, I was 13 days old. We owe a debt of gratitude to all those who helped launch this institution, especially the first 4 classes of UMBC students. We call them the Founding Four. I'm looking at them. They took a chance on this burgeoning institution. They are now proud alumni who are publishing, one moment, an inspiring book. They shared that book with me on Monday. So I just want to take a moment and honor the first 4 classes of students who came to UMBC. If you're present, would you please stand? As I reflect on UMBC's journey, there is so much to celebrate. You've heard some of it today. We have modeled for the world that inclusive excellence means for us, what it means for our students and how to achieve it. The Meyerhoff Scholars Program and go ahead, Meyerhoff Scholars, go ahead. And an array of other scholar training programs have led UMBC to be the country's #1 producer of Black undergraduates who go on to earn doctorate degrees in the life sciences, math, and computer sciences combined. We are also the nation's leading producer of Black undergraduates who will go on to earn the combined MD, PhD, with Harvard being second. They told me not to say this, but it's not even a close second. I wasn't supposed to say that. We are recognized nationally for the quality of our undergraduate teaching and as one of the most innovative universities in the US. UMBC is leading groundbreaking research throughout the humanities, social sciences, natural sciences, and mathematical sciences, and engineering and computing, and nurturing creative achievement in myriad artistic fields. We are defined by our extraordinary community, which was ranked as a top place to work again in 2022. And our alumni, about which you have heard, are making their mark in all fields locally and globally. From Speaker of the Maryland House of Delegates, Adrian Jones, to Kizzmekia Corbett, whose work led to the development of the Moderna vaccine for COVID-19. And there are so many more alumni achievements. With more than 70% of our graduates living and working in the state, including right here in Baltimore County with County Executive Johnny O, UMBC is helping to advance the Baltimore region and the state of Maryland. And we are not done. In the words of our previous leader, success is never final. UMBC possesses a willingness to continue to question the status quo, to consider the world's ever-changing challenges and circumstances, and to innovate to serve our students. In that spirit, this spring, our community came together in a series of campus conversations called UMBC Bold, sessions that laid the groundwork for the strategic planning that we will take up in the fall. These were deeply engaging discussions with more than 1,000 attendees. We heard bold aspirations for the undergraduate and graduate experience, for the research enterprise, economic development, community engagement, and more. I would like to pause and acknowledge the honorary co-chairs of this effort, Speaker Adrian Jones and Board of Visitors Chair Alan Wilson. I would also like to thank the co-chairs of the effort, Professors Vandana Janeja and Michelle Scott, and Vice President of Institutional Advancement, Greg Simmons, as well as the 26 faculty, staff, student, and alumni leaders who facilitated 22 listening sessions online and in person. If you are one of those leaders and you are in the building, would you please stand? Throughout these conversations, again and again, I heard this community elevate and affirm the values that unite us. These values live in UMBC's vision statement, which was developed over a number of years by this community before I arrived. A vision is, by definition, aspirational. And I can say that this bold, clear statement has inspired me since the very first time that I read it, and it still gets me every single time. It is printed in the inside cover of your inauguration program, and I invite you to follow along as I read it. And think about the core values it articulates and how we will rise to achieve this vision in the years ahead. It states, our UMBC community redefines excellence in higher education through an inclusive culture that connects innovative teaching and learning, research across the disciplines, and civic engagement. We will advance knowledge, economic prosperity, and social justice by welcoming and inspiring inquisitive minds from all backgrounds. Do y'all feel that? Yes, you may applaud. The first time I read it, I said, these people are serious about being in the life-changing business. They said that they are going to change the economic trajectory of our students, which means we're changing that trajectory for their families and generations to come. They say that they're going to put a stake in the ground on social justice, which means here we don't believe in a hierarchy of human value. That's what they believe, and they said that everybody can participate. All you have to do is show up every day and welcome and inspire inquisitive minds from all backgrounds. For me, that's a statement, and it's a reason to get up and come to work every single day. While there are many measures and rankings in higher education here, That first line says that we are bold enough to say that not only do we refuse to deem ourselves excellent unless we do it through an inclusive culture, we are actually stating that true excellence is impossible without it. Years ago, I saw this powerful truth at work in my science, and I can hear my PhD advisor's voice repeatedly saying to me, "Val, we learn the most from the people with whom we have the least in common." And he was not just talking about interdisciplinarity, but literally about the fact that the place where I was born, those people who you heard about who raised me, their histories, their view of the world, and my own life experiences determine how I see and approach problems, even scientific ones. And so by extension, diverse teams of people will approach the same problem from multiple perspectives, not just because one is a historian and the other is a computer scientist, but because of who they are. As the problems of this world become ever more challenging, climate change, inequality, global food insecurity, threats to democracy, and the unintended consequences of technological advances, and as human relationships become ever more complex, we absolutely need diverse minds and perspectives addressing these problems. And they must have learned to appreciate each other's differences while discovering their common humanity. So as I walk across our campus, it's pure joy, by the way, if you've never walked across our campus and you need some joy, just come on over. What I see is our students from every corner of the state and the world, not just enrolled together, but building meaningful relationships together, working together, socializing together, serving the community together, supporting each other, appreciating differences, and practicing common humanity. I am hopeful and inspired by these students. This is UMBC, and this is how we have long been working to make the world a better place. Looking to the future, our challenge is to ensure that inclusive excellence permeates our institution in every decision, every investment, at every level, consistently. We will get there, and we will take the time to clarify and illuminate what inclusive excellence means to us today and what it will mean in the future. This is critical, particularly when the discourse in some places that will remain unnamed, Hank, in our country has pitted diversity and inclusion against excellence as disconnected from competitiveness and innovation rather than integral to them. It is especially critical at this moment as higher education awaits legal decisions that are likely to disrupt our proven approaches to advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion. Those national contexts stand in stark contrast to the long-standing support of education and the understanding of inclusive excellence that our leaders in local and state government in Maryland have shown. For their support and commitment to all of our students, staff, and faculty, I am profoundly grateful. Let's give them a round of applause. My mother says if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all, so we didn't call any names about those other places. Our vision statement also lifts up innovative teaching and learning, which happen both inside and outside of the classroom and are inherently about the promises that we make to our students and the responsibility we feel as a community whose goal first and last is to provide all Marylanders, all of our learners, the opportunity to succeed. UMBC has long been a leader in providing this opportunity to our students, and it has been a place that welcomes inquisitive minds from all backgrounds. A place, get this, known to be nerd chic. That's what we do. We say this is a place where it is cool to be smart and safe to be you. We look at our students as if we are looking at our own children. And so I say to all of my students, if you're a student out there, wave your hand. If you're a student, I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you. This is what we're saying to each of you as our students. By our words and through our actions, we want you to feel that you belong and know that you are welcomed. When you struggle, we want to provide you with the academic, mental health, and well-being resources that you need in the time and manner that you need them. If you are neurodiverse or have a disability, we want the full range of opportunities at UMBC not only to be available, but to be accessible in a way that shows you that we thought about you before you arrived. And if you are first in your family to go to college or pursue a graduate degree, we want to provide you with the guidance to demystify this world and welcome you into it. We want to remove barriers that would block your success. Those barriers, whether they're financial or otherwise, we want to remove them so that you have a clear path to success. We want you to connect deeply with the community in which you live and work, to seek ways to genuinely and authentically contribute to its well-being, to enjoy giving more than receiving, and to cultivate that special joy that is found only in service to others. And we want you to be inspired and challenged by your experience, and I want you to emerge whole, with your resilience and confidence strengthened, with an assurance that you can change the world. This is the promise that we are making to our students. Looking to the future, our challenge at UMBC and our privilege is to consider the whole student and all the factors that impact success inside and outside of the classroom. We will coordinate academic, financial, mental health, and well-being services and communicate seamlessly so that all students may know through our preparation, our spaces, and our programs, not only that we considered them, but we were actually expecting them. Now to something else that is, I should say else because they are dear to my heart. Now to something else that's dear to my heart, research. Last year, UMBC ascended to the nation's highest level of research activity, achieving the Carnegie classification as a Research 1 institution. Yes, you should clap. This designation, shared by fewer than 150 other institutions nationally, is an acknowledgement of the years of research growth, strength, and excellence across the disciplines. Our research excellence was again on display earlier in this week during the Community Engaged Scholarship Symposium. If you were not present, you missed it. It was a thing of beauty. My colleagues from across all the disciplines displayed the values and principles that we will forever stand on as we pursue our research. The first is that teaching and research go hand in hand. Academic research is always enhanced by engagement of students, and teaching at its best is always informed and infused with research. The second principle that I saw on full display is that scholarship in the arts, humanities, and social sciences are at the heart of the research enterprise. Science, my humanists, go ahead. You know that I'm a chemist, okay? But science, technology, and engineering alone will not improve the human condition. We need deep understanding of and collaboration among the arts, humanities, social sciences, and STEM. The third principle is that research and inclusive excellence are not in opposition. Oh, let me say it again. Research and inclusive excellence are not in opposition. Even as I make this statement, consider this. While climate change is a global issue, fewer than 10% of the PhD recipients and faculty in the environmental sciences are people of color. As the challenge of ethics and unintentional consequences of technology loom large, only 20% of undergraduate computer science degrees in the United States go to women. When poverty and wealth disparities are more evident every day, fewer than 12% of PhDs in economics are awarded to underrepresented minorities. So I go back to my statement. Research and inclusive excellence are not in opposition. Okay. Those statistics should lead us all to question whose ideas are not being heard, whose environments, neighborhoods, and communities are not being considered. What talent are we leaving untapped and underutilized? For decades, UMBC has been a national leader in addressing this great divide for undergraduate students, most famously through the Meyerhoff Scholars Program. And we have made strides with creative programs and initiatives for faculty and graduate student diversity. Looking to the future, our challenge is to ensure that graduate students, faculty, and staff across each and every one of our disciplines represents the communities that we serve locally and globally. This is one of the most intransigent problems in all of academia. I believe that we can set the example for the nation just as we have in the past. We will strategically grow our research enterprise in ways that build upon our interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary strengths and create a convergence of talent and individuals from all walks of life. In doing so, we will become a unique research university and a destination for graduate students, faculty, and staff who are seeking a welcoming, vibrant, creative, diverse research environment. This is the work that we will do together. Finally, I cannot say how grateful I am that this institution has as a core value civic engagement. That UMBC has been recognized by the Carnegie Foundation with its community engagement classification is an acknowledgement of the deep, long-standing commitment and bond between campus and community. We believe in the power of shared humanness and the possibility of collective agency, and we take seriously the responsibility of being in community and of being in service to the community. It is why more than 300 UMBC students from our Sherman Reach Together tutoring program devoted more than 10,000 hours to tutoring 3rd and 5th graders from Lakeland, Westport, Arundel, and Cherry Hill elementary schools to address the decline in math scores during COVID. It is why our Choice program serves 800 youth annually and more than 30,000 since its inception in 1989 to promote positive outcomes for youth and families across Central Maryland and to reduce the school-to-prison pipeline. And it is why our Center for Democracy and Civic Engagement works in so many ways to help individuals and groups develop the knowledge, skills, and perspectives needed to continue a thriving democracy. We understand that civic engagement is not about people to be studied or tasks to be completed from a distance. It is about developing cultural and global humility, empathy and grace, and fostering authentic connection and sustained commitment. We are developing lifelong learners who will have a lifelong practice of service and civic engagement. This work for us is not abstract or theoretical. It's concrete and it's tangible. So place matters. Why are we here? Literally here, in this community, in this city. Our location, debated as it was in 1966, fully and deeply informs our institutional responsibility as citizens and neighbors and as a public institution. From the 7th floor of the library, where I have been spending a lot of time these days, I know those of you who know why, we won't talk about that right now. I see in the foreground of our campus, it's beautiful. I wish you, when you come, you will go to the window with me. Freeman took you to the roof, I'm going to take you to the window. I see in the foreground our campus and our students, faculty, and staff. Then on the edge, I see Arbutus and Catonsville. And then I have this magnificent view of the Baltimore skyline. I think that this picture tells me every time I go to that window about the people with whom our lives are connected in proximity and purpose. Looking to the future, our challenge and our distinct opportunity is to deepen our collaborations with area residents, alumni, industry partners, government officials, and peers in higher education to advance civic engagement and a thriving innovation ecosystem, and to create healthier communities in our neighborhood, across Maryland and beyond. Our lives are indeed connected, and I already love and am deeply committed to everything that I can see outside of that window. Our ambition for the future is bold, like UMBC itself. This ambition and our shared vision will require resolve, relationship, and just so my faculty know and staff know I haven't lost my mind, it will require resources. People keep saying to me, that's a lot, how are you going to pay for it? We will strengthen key relationships with our neighbors, especially as we imagine the future of our Spring Grove campus, and with government leaders as we continue our work together on some of the biggest challenges in the state. We will expand our partnerships with area schools and community colleges to enroll and graduate even more Marylanders in the years to come. My enrollment people got nervous when I said year because they thought next year I was going to ask them to do that. We will enhance collaboration with USM institutions to further leverage our individual strengths. We will expand and create new relationships with those outside of our state who share our aspirations and values. And we will seek increased philanthropy and new streams of revenue to invest in our future and build momentum in achieving our vision. Those resources will allow us to welcome a diverse community and support them with the resources that they need to succeed. This includes creating and maintaining the infrastructure to fuel a thriving Research One institution and spur its impact locally and globally. After 9 months as your president, I am even more inspired by what I have seen, heard, and learned, and I'm even more committed to this challenge. The vision is real, not just words on a page, and I know we can achieve it. I know it because I have seen what UMBC has already accomplished, and because I have seen the power of this community. I'll end where I started. My parents would be so proud just because they love their daughter. But they would be even prouder that UMBC embodies the values that they instilled in me. What a gift to them and to me. Thank you for the honor and joy of serving as your president, and I am truly grateful to be a member of this beloved community. Thank you so very much.
So I'm a little teary. I don't know about the rest of you, but if you could actually stand again and join us in singing our alma mater. The words can be found on the last page of your program. For joining us on this historic occasion. Please remain standing throughout the recessional. After the recessional is complete, we invite you to join the president at a campus-wide celebration on our academic quad. Please join me one more time in congratulating UMBC President Dr. Valerie Sheares Ashby.